And we're live. Hello and welcome to the 192nd episode of Hex Therapy Live. I'm your host, Maddie ALLin, and I've got a great show for you tonight. We are going to be going over some tools that will teach you how to see things on chain in the Hex and Pulse Chain ecosystem. And even more importantly, we're going to talk about community and why I'm not going to tell you what to do with your money, and but I'm trying to help Kareem. And for those of you who don't know, I'm sorry. Go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button and share this out. This, as I say, this is going to be a good one. So, for those of you who don't know Kareem, he is one of the most charismatic believers and YouTubers in the Hex and Pulse Chain space. He did about 55 Tuesday night episodes in a row with me in my early YouTubing days. And, he's pretty beloved by a lot of people who understand what he stands for. And he's, I would say, out of all 170 YouTubers that I've worked with, he is the most diehard believer in paying your future self, in the idea behind Hex, which is delaying gratification. And so when I heard yesterday that he was detained at the border of a Caribbean travel destination, I was pretty disheartened. Like, that's bad news. Even though Kareem and I, we're not that close anymore. It's been a couple of years. I still care about him as a friend and as a community member. And so I quickly gathered more information and put out a tweet to let more people know that Kareem was in trouble. And so far, there's been lots of different reactions in the community, but I feel like it's my responsibility as the person who YouTubed with Kareem the most for a whole year to set the record straight, because he's, because he deserves that. And as anybody would who has contributed so much to the Hex and Pulse chain space. So, I would say some of the reactions that people are having maybe is because they don't like donation, drives and that sort of thing. But with a decentralized community, this is the way that you support each other. And so, I get it that you don't want to be told what to do with your money. I don't want to be told what to do with my money. And I'll tell you one thing. What Pulse and PulseX stands for is freedom to transact and self-custody. I mean, that's like, anybody who wants to argue with me on that, let's go, that's what it stands for. And so it's really weird for me to see when people are bashing other people who are helping. There's been a huge backlash on Twitter of people crying that it's not fair that some people are donating to get Kareem out of jail for allegedly having some ammunition on him at the airport, which, you can believe that's that's wrong, and we don't know, we weren't there, but at the end of the day, even if somebody messes up, if they're your friend, you might still want to help them out. So, so I'm just gonna go over some key details that I've seen and explain why I think that that everybody's take on this has, in the most part, been pretty much off. Hasn't been very accurate. And I've been listening to hours and hours of streams today to try to understand what people are saying. So, And Hex Monkey saying, see the Twitter for today for today's update. So I will do that before I say something that is inaccurate. Go ahead and chat amongst yourselves. Can you be more specific, Hex Monkey? I yeah, I like I've got some good stuff here. And I appreciated your appearance on What the Hex today because I thought that that was excellent. You helped to correct the record there. Um, so yeah, so what have I talked about so far? It's like, you know, people shouldn't tell you what to do with your money, but when you tell people what they can't do with their money, that's wrong, right? So freedom to transact is all about like let people do whatever they want with their money. Just because you're in Hex or Pulse Chain or PulseX or Inc. doesn't mean like you have the right to make fun of somebody or to call somebody a scammer because they need help, and that's it's actually really bad to be so vile. I've seen a lot of bad stuff lately. Okay, so here somebody says like, why don't you just call the embassy, the U.S. embassy? Well, Kareem is not a U.S. citizen. He has a green card. He's a resident of Florida, but he was born in the Central African Republic. And somebody else said, why doesn't he just go to his family for money? Well, Kareem has one of the most intriguing stories out of any Hex user that I'm aware of, out of any YouTuber, in that he grew up incredibly poor in a country where the currency was failing. And that makes it even more incredible that he was able to go into Hex and take his entire net worth and all of his savings and put it into Hex. Not only put it into Hex, because he was coming on my stream every week when Hex was 7/10 of a cent. And, you know, that's the price it is today. Anyway, but it had gone up, 50x in the meantime, even more than that, 60x, right? But he had time locked it all for 15 years, and he time locked it so long that you can't even get any money out of an early end stake, which is the other thing people have been getting like incredibly wrong, is like saying, oh, he's a rich multimillionaire. No, I'll show you on chain that he really doesn't have anything, and he already emergency end staked the only thing that he had. As far as I'm concerned, like he's pretty much like, he doesn't deserve to sit in prison for 10 or 15 or 10 or 12 years. And a lot of people, they were sharing a news article that said, oh, like these other 3 Americans got, they got out of it and it was only $5,000. Well, guess what? Kareem is not American. And so they can go much harder on him, and they might. And so, how much are you willing to risk? And really, what are you even being asked to do other than not be an asshole and not discourage people from helping? Like what are you really being like, if you're not wanting to use your freedom to transact to send Kareem bail money, then don't, but you don't have to be an asshole about it on the internet. Like, because you might be discouraging other people from helping to save his life and helping to save the next decade of his life, right? So it disgusts me when people are saying, oh, he needs to emergency end stake. Well, obviously you're too dumb to go look on chain and to see that he can't do that. And also, a lot of people can't even fathom delaying gratification as much as Kareem did, right? And so he's not asking for handouts. He didn't even ask me to say anything. I'm just doing it because it's the right thing to do. I don't get any personal benefit out of this. All I get is a bunch of haters and a headache, but it's the right thing to do. So I'm going to do it. And shout out to everybody who, like me, has donated to Kareem's Dream account, because there's been $5,500 put there so far. And, we knew that $5,000, like that he had put up himself from an early end stake, the only one that he could get, basically, that wasn't looking like it would be enough. So the amount that's needed is also unknown, and we're supposed to find that out in the next couple days. But I think it's really encouraging to me that people stepped up enough to send money during these tough times of crypto being ready to go into the next upward spike, probably. So you could call it a loan, and and then apparently Kareem will pay it back, and it's basically his friend Yoon Anderson is the one who's like coordinating basically all the communications, and there you go. But so basically, so some people's criticism was like, why doesn't he have his family pay for that? I heard somebody say, I could get $100,000 from my family really easy, and like from all my friends. Well, not everybody has family that's that rich. Some people's families have nothing. And so it's really, I think it's just really interesting to see everybody's reaction to this. Some people, it's fair if you don't know Kareem, you're asking tough questions. That's fine. I'm not really worried about the people who are being respectful, but asking questions. I'm out here having to block people who are saying disgusting and untrue things. So that's fine. We won't give them too much of a spotlight. But yeah, Kareem was on live streams for like 3 to 6 hours every night for a year during the bull run, from before X took off to through the top and beyond. So, people saying he's the reason the pulse chain price is down, like that's silly nonsense that I won't even really cover. But yeah, so I mean, it's different if somebody's not a US citizen, that like puts them at more risk. You can't just call the embassy. And the fact that the Americans got off so easy, I believe that was with like senators and lawyers from America being paid off to like let them go as well, or like to put political pressure there. Like that's not necessarily the same thing a non-American can get. And so but it's really cool to see people donated. I donated. The reason I call it a donation is because it's not your keys, not your coins. But apparently there's there's some arrangement people have worked out for like repayment. And here, so I can, let me see, am I sharing the right screen? No. So I'm going to show you guys, it was pretty easy for me to do the chain analysis on Kareem's wallet because he's listed under hexscout.com, the best place to buy Hex and get started. Even if you don't know anything about Hex, it's like the best onboarding platform available. Hexscout.com. He's listed as one of the 3 celebrity wallets. One of the wallets like Godwell. Whoa, that's cool. The Dream account, that's Kareem's. And you guys will remember that Kareem was in the Hex documentary movie, The Highest of Stakes, bragging about the paper, like the paper gains that he had, that his account was worth millions of dollars, right? And so that makes it even harder for him to ask for help. And obviously he's in a real bad situation if he's in a Caribbean jail cell. You have no idea what they're doing to him, and that's not anything I wish on anybody. But people are criticizing the fact that he was bragging about how rich he was. Well, him being the strongest believer in Hex, like not doing any short-term stakes and not keeping any liquid and not selling any during like the first run up, that's the most respectable, truest behavior that you could find. Like that's the greatest believer in what we're all trying to accomplish with proving this experiment in delayed gratification that is hex. And so I mean, this is one way that hex can go wrong, right? Like you can time lock all your money and then you don't have any for an emergency. And Kareem definitely like made a mistake in that regard. I just hope that people recognize that the nature of the mistake is just he was being the most competitive person and he won the competition for like the craziest staking behavior. And so this is his account that is just shy of $1 million. It's worth like $900,000, but all of that's time locked for so long that it's not going to help. And there was this emergency end stake yesterday that was the only one that could have been profitable. Now, how do I show that? Well, I don't think you can do it from Hex Scout, but there's a little tool that I created called go.tshare.app. And if you take the address and you add /account equals and then put somebody's public address, you can see inside their wallet. You can see what their emergency end stake would look like. Okay. And so I can see this is showing only the pulse chain side right now, where we can see the USD value of just the pulse chain side is 659,000. However, if we do the math on what the early end stake would be for the most recent stake, which was started on August 19th, 2020, it's progressed 39% and it's ending in August of 2030. We can see that the penalties would be equal to the value of the stake. And so the net value right now is 0 for that. And that's how all these other stakes are here. You can see like the progress bar, the ones that are longer and have served less time are also yielding 0. Now, this is actually really hard to calculate. And I know that it says that the penalties here are approximate. But I think the math here is right. And if it's not, then I'm putting the asterisk next to it that like this is a really weird, hard thing to calculate sometimes. But there you go. From my estimation, at least, he can't do anything. Now, somebody suggested like, oh, what if he minted like Hedron, etc.? I think he has, he probably just has his staker app on his phone. I don't know if he's like migrated that to his computer, but maybe he can do that. Maybe he can't. Maybe he's already done that. I wasn't able to spend enough time to dig deeper into the chain analysis to see if he's already done that or not. But the bottom line is, people who are donating $10 or $100 or $500 or $1,000, like, have an offer to get paid back. And, you can see on chain that he's good for it. And I really believe Kareem. I know that he sticks to his word. And so I would encourage people to just, if you have money, and you're a fan of Kareem, as many are, or if you're somebody who like sold the top, because he didn't sell the top. He put his entire net worth into Hex and time locked it. So there were other people who were selling the top and getting the price appreciation of not only Kareem's like life savings, but also his, speaking so charismatically about Hex. And so that doesn't mean that that your money is his money. It just means that like, maybe that goes into your decision making of whether to help him out. And so, I'm glad that there's a list here of like things that people can do. Like I don't think he has HSIs or Wattses or any of that weird crap because he was working with Stake Rap this whole time. Um, yeah, and Hex Monkey is having like so many really good takes on this. I can say, yeah, he's yeah. There's no guarantee he'll get out of trouble, and um, you know, but we don't want the person who delayed gratification the most in Hex. We don't want them to be rotting in a jail cell for 12 years because people were assholes on the internet. Like, you know, again, if you don't support it, then you don't have to like trash talk it. And that's part of the freedom to transact that we talked about earlier in the show. Like, you know, let people do whatever they want with their money. And if you're if you're so influenced by me saying what I did with my money and like what I think is cool, then maybe you need to like stay away from YouTube and Twitter, because that I think my job isn't to influence, is to educate. And you know, you're probably learning something here just from how to calculate whether somebody has any liquid funds or not. I know that this is a hard thing to find a tool for. So there you go. I've got a tool for it. It was really cool to see Richard tweeting in support of helping Kareem. Like that seems like him really looking out for somebody who has done a lot to build the community. And so I was somewhat surprised that Richard tweeted that, and there it is. So for for all the people who were trying to bring up old videos of Richard saying don't give your money to scammers, and they were saying like, oh, that's Kareem's a scammer. Like, Kareem is not a scammer, okay? There were some people also saying today that like, oh, he wasn't practicing what he preached because he was living this good life in Miami and going out to nightclubs that cost $5,000 to $50,000 a night. Okay, well, like, you know, that's not true. If you've ever hung out with Kareem, like, he will work his ass off all night to find a bunch of people who want to pay for bottle service. And then, that's his contribution, is like bringing together 10 people who want to do that. He was doing that in college. Like, remember, he came from nothing. Like, his entire economy collapsed when he was growing up. So like, he's very resourceful, and I can guarantee you that he was not selling Hex at the top, and he was not spending the money on a lavish lifestyle. Like, if anything, he was, every time he was going somewhere, he was staying with somebody else. Like, he was being the most economic and like thrifty person I've ever seen, like in our space, in our YouTube land. So to say that like him not having any money is because he was like living some lavish lifestyle and like selling Hex at the top and not practicing what he preached, that's not true. And I can vouch for like his, like, he would stay with me in a hotel room, separate beds, right? But because he was so responsible with money. And so I know that it wasn't, it wasn't a situation where he's just trying, and like, he had a high paying job and he believed in Hex, and like, so he was setting the example for what everybody could do in Hex, which is like work hard at a high paying job. And he was making much more than most people do at his age, like, probably 90th percentile. And so the story, like, Kareem's story is incredible. He helped make Hex what it is. And, so not everybody's in a position to be able to help, but when somebody's life is on the line, then some people are going to help. Yeah, free Kareem. There you go. What's up, Sandy Beach? What's up, Class? Good to see you there. Yeah, and I've seen a lot of people are standing out to me right now because they're being positive and they're doing the right thing, which is to like be supportive of a fellow community member who's in trouble. And there are also people who are standing out to me who are not doing things I'm proud of or not doing things that I agree with. And so, some of those people who are just being really offensive, they're getting blocked. And that helps me at the end of the day because now I don't have to deal with as many people who uh, are really bad people. So there you go. What else? What else do we need to say about this? So we're gonna find out from Yoon here, from John in the next couple of days how much is needed to get Kareem out on bail. And so far, the community has stepped up. So far, the community has voted with their dollars by raising $5,500. They have voted to say, we love Kareem. We support him, even though he may have made a mistake. We want to help him to not, as a non-U.S. citizen, for him to be locked away. Lots of bad stuff happened to him at once. People are saying like, oh, like I got scammed and lost money and I didn't ask for anything. That's cool. I guess you didn't need it. But the people who are telling Kareem to like just go get a job are sounding silly too because he's locked up, so he can't get a job. And Kareem's an extremely hard worker, and that is part of what makes some people confident in supporting him, and other people, such as myself, I'm not asking for anything in return. Um, I'm just making it. I'm making it a donation, even if it's being called like a loan. Um, yeah, and I think he's going to be sitting. He's going to be trapped there in that country until September, is what I heard for the court date. So that's messed up. Yeah. Oh, Biffness here breaking it down. I love this. He says Kareem may have had some ammo on him, but no one has ammo on Kareem. He's a stand-up dude, and we're super lucky to have him in our community. I hope he either makes it back home or back to building homes. Love it. Well put. And Biffness is another um, exemplary community member, somebody who's hardworking, high earning, and staking long, and practicing what we're all preaching, right? Yeah, people who were U.S. citizens, yeah, they got out of it easier, and but that Kareem is not a U.S. citizen, and so we are more worried. Yeah, I can't believe this BS happened to one of our best. Yeah, I mean, so there's people who are trying to minimize it and trying to say like, oh, like these other guys got off fine, like, and maybe he will get off fine, but for you know, for this community, there's gonna be some people who want to help and they're gonna do it, and they have the freedom to transact. If you don't want to help, that's fine. But when you're minimizing the problem, what if a whale comes along and sees that and they're like, oh, I guess he doesn't need help, and it would have been like nothing for them to help him, right? Um, and I mean, it's just like what an incredible story for a community to help somebody instead of like just saying a bunch of mean things. And by the way, the title of the stream is Cooperation versus Tragedy of the Commons. Do you guys know what tragedy of the commons is? It's an economics term that says that like if there's like some some task that's assigned to everybody, then nobody's going to take care of it because there's like no direct incentive. And so the examples where groups can break that norm is like incredible. And that's something you should look for in a community. You should find communities where people step up even though they don't have to. People volunteer. And that's what Kareem did for hundreds of hours. And it wasn't just him coming on my show. It was him in every moment of his life living and breathing hacks and onboarding people. I guarantee you that he, because I've seen it in real life, he was one of the best people to pitch hacks to like rich guys, and he would do it all the time everywhere we went. So he was a relentless onboarder. He, and and because of the success of Hex, it went up so much. And it, if it didn't go up so much, then it wouldn't be down so much. And so, it's kind of, it's notable. It's notable. And there's a lot of love for Kareem out here. Yeah. Hex Monkey says, there's no guarantee he gets freed unless he has solid legal help and does exactly what he's told. He's at a ton of risk given some of the details of this. Trust me. Yeah, and you don't want to be locked up in another country and not be a US citizen. Are you kidding me? Especially in the Caribbean. And they might know he has money, but he doesn't have money. I just proved that. But this isn't an easy one. So I'm glad RH stepped up. I'm glad people who donated stepped up, and people who are just raising awareness and they're not donating, that's cool too. And people who are, using the opportunity as a loan to help them out, that's cool too. Why can't his friend pay? I don't know. If his friend was like smuggling ammunition, then his friend is probably not that rich and might also be arrested. So, I mean, somebody's saying use your brain, and obviously you're not using your brain, but I already blocked you, so that's fine. I still don't understand how he doesn't have any savings after all these years. Yeah, not everybody can comprehend, delaying gratification that much. And traveling the world, building homes doesn't really pay that much, I would imagine. And so the fact that he was living this Instagram life, you guys know that like that's not always as glamorous as it seems. And people just like take pictures of the glorious times, but it could have been that his friends were paying his way, and in exchange, he was being their wingman or giving them like some sort of service in exchange. Like Kareem, as I said, is extremely resourceful and thrifty. And so I think if we look at like, tons of interactions with him and like tons of trips we've all taken together, it's pretty clear that, yeah, it is totally possible that he didn't save anything, especially when you grow up having nothing, you feel like you don't need anything. And part of his whole philosophy was stay hungry. This idea that like, if you don't give yourself anything to live on, then you're going to keep staying productive. And there's like tons of people in the Hex community who their productivity fell off, or they didn't even show up to build the community in the first place. And that's fine too. Like, you're not required to come on stream if you're a Hexican and you're like, making millions of dollars. But who's that one guy, Nick Cherry or something, worked at Coinbase, never helped us at all, never went on stream and extracted like millions and millions and millions of dollars from the community. Like, no, screw that guy. And, so you have to understand that Kareem is coming from a place that's very different than the rest of us. Out of 300,000 people, he's the guy who delayed gratification the most. And so obviously that was the wrong choice. And now he's gotten himself into trouble. and now his friends can help him. So yeah, guys, like, if you were stuck in a prison and you didn't have citizenship, and you had like tried to live this lifestyle to attract more people into Hex, and people got in listening to you at 7/10 of a cent, which is where the price is today, and like, people had lots of opportunities to like have instant gratification, but you chose delayed gratification. Yeah, like you're going to look back at some of your choices and be like, oh, I did the wrong thing. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have portrayed that lifestyle if I wasn't like, but what did you want? Did you want him like selling Hex the whole way and living the lifestyle, and like, being more transparent about it? Or did you want him like doing the frugal thing and still contributing way more? Like, he didn't ever take anything out of the ecosystem. So like, with all the people that did, that like dropped the price down, 99%, I would say, you know Kareem did the right thing in a lot of ways, but he didn't do it for himself. He didn't do it right for himself in the short term. And that's where he got into trouble. And, you know, so people can help him. Again, it's not, um, if you don't have money and you don't love Kareem, then like you should just try to learn what it means to be a friend. Or, you could learn like how to do chain analysis, because those are both like really valuable skills that a lot of people are missing. And I'm not saying people in this stream particularly, but there are a lot of people on Twitter who are missing the they don't have a heart basically, and they're so greedy that they can't stand $5,000 being donated to somebody. It's like, what? Like, Kareem provided probably like hundreds, at least hundreds of thousands of dollars of value in just all the millions of dollars he got onboarded. If you look at Staker app and what he did there, I know like Staker app is defunct, and like Steph got sick of all the negativity in the community or whatever his problem was, the legal risk. So he like, shuttered down. Um, and people are butthurt about that, but like, it still works. You can still go online and like get your stakes out. And but I got to see Kareem in action when he was onboarding millionaires in real life 24/7. So, there you go. um yeah. And yeah, Kareem is a cool dude. He is charismatic. Like, he has come to the Hex and Pulse Chain conferences all these years since the beginning. And he wasn't a day one Hexican. He got in, I think, at the time of the God Whale pump. So there you go. Um, okay, so yes, this whole idea that like, like, this is a greedy idea. Like, oh, like, all this money is being raised for everything. Like, uh, you know, why don't you just pump our bags? Right? That's an incredibly like greedy and negative thing to say. Like, the NASCAR cost $300,000, right? Like, or 350, but then it onboarded $500,000. So, and that was people using their freedom to transact. So, like, fine. If you have a problem with that, or you don't have a problem with that, that's on like a totally different order of magnitude than this, which is just getting a few $1,000s for somebody that um, is having their life threatened. And yeah, I mean, like, I agree that if all the sacrifice money from all the different projects like went into Hex and Pulse Chain, the price would be twice as high now or something. But don't confuse like your dreams with like people's freedom to transact. So like there are plenty of billionaires and millionaires in the world that can come along and like pump your bags, but telling everybody in your ecosystem that they're not allowed to do whatever they want with their money, which includes sacrificing, I think that's wrong. Um, what are you doing to keep people here? What are you doing to attract new people? You know, other than just complaining when other people use their crypto as they wish, right? So, um, and then for me, the last fundraiser I did, uh, that was for a really specific thing, and it was not asking for general participation, was only for whales, and it worked out just fine, So, um, like, I understand that people are having a really tough time separating between like what's a scam, and like what's a useful thing. But look, again, we're a decentralized community, so the founder is doing the right thing, following the law, not paying people to do shit. And so people have to volunteer to do shit, or people have to pay each other to do shit, or shit doesn't get done. Right. And, there are some people such as myself who aren't getting personal benefit from all this. And we are getting a lot of hate. And what's going to happen is people like me are going to quit and never come back if people aren't, being a little bit more respectful to the fact that we are volunteering here. And, like there's only a certain amount of shit that is mentally healthy to take. So, if you don't have anything nice to say, maybe you don't say it. And, I'm down with freedom of speech and all that, but like you get what you sow, right? And I think Kareem deserves my support, of course. And, I know that there are plenty of good people in this community that also feel the same way. And so, more than anything, this is a lesson in like, you know, who's advertising themselves as a bad person, or who's, like who's got a problem with people using their own money to get Kareem out of prison for 12 years. Like, I don't know. Kareem's a really good person. Crispy man, good to see you there. Yeah. So yeah, so there you go, guys. That's like that's the stream. That's the message. Is like we're gonna wait another day or two to find out how much money Kareem really needs. But some people have already started to step up, and other people, they showed their true colors. And if if you're one of the people posting on Twitter that you lost respect for Richard for standing up for the person who I guess represents delayed gratification the most, who believed the most, then I don't know why you were respecting him in the first place. And, I know there's a lot to respect about RH, but I think the fact that he uh, looks out, looks out for people, and always does the right thing, you know, it's that's a big deal, and you don't get that from most founders, if any, right? So most founders, they dump on your head, and you know that's not what's happening here. So with that being said, I don't know. I hope you learned something today about like you know friendship, or freedom to transact, or chain analysis, and you know there you go. Yeah, he tweeted it because he understands the gravity of the situation. That is also true. So, um, yeah, and like I would say another thing that people said that was way out of line. It's like, oh, why don't you use the rugged liquidity from Maddie token to bail Kareem out? And it's like, um, you know, I've proven on chain that there was no rug. I've proven on chain that all those funds are there. I've proven on chain the decrease in the liquidity gave people a better exit because there were more buyers than sellers, which pushed the price up and gave people a better price to sell at. So, uh, um, the fact that people are continuing to say that over and over again just shows me again like who understands blockchain, who can read on chain, who can listen to all the facts, like versus people who are just parroting what other people have said, who are uninformed. So like, that's it seems kind of risky too to be like telling lies about stuff that can be checked on chain and like broadcasting it. It seems like, you know, uh, that would be something that would hurt your reputation and would be something that just kind of flexes how you're not doing your own research and you're not thinking critically about stuff. But there you go. Proof of no work. I appreciate the effort you put in, Maddie. Try to stay positive. Thanks. Yep. So, yeah, we'll leave it there for now. Thanks to everybody who's stepping up to help Kareem because he's in a bad spot. So I guess I'll post the address to the Dream account where I sent my $500, and that way you can verify it for yourself. So yeah, with that being said, boy, really good topic for Hex Therapy tonight, huh? So hit the like and subscribe button, share this out, try to spread positivity within the community. And if not, at least stop talking shit. And until next time, stay wisely, my friends, and peace out.